Good morning all of you. Welcome back to course database management system. So our today's topic is indexing. So today we are going to discuss one of the important topic in database, that is indexing. So here we understand what is indexing, why do we require indexing in a database, in what situation you are going to create index in a database, what are the benefits of indexing, what is the syntax to create index in a database, and what are the performance evaluation metrics that can be used to evaluate the performance of indexing. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss today. So we'll start from very basic, that is indexing. So before understanding what do you mean by index, first of all I will tell you a simple example so that you will understand indexing in the database. So the indexing concept in the database is similar to the concept of index used in a book. So do you know what is the use of index in a book? Why we are using index? Have you seen an index? Yes. In the back side of the book you find an index. So can you tell me what is the use of index? How that index help you? Suppose you consider a book of a database management system, that is of Sudarshan and Kaur, and I ask you to just search a particular topic called as a tuple relational calculus, and suppose that topic is not present in the content page, then what you will do? What is your approach to find the topic in that Sudarshan Kaur book? So in that case, whether you will check each and every page one by one, so unless and until you will reach to that topic of tuple relational calculus, whether it's your approach, if you are following this approach, it takes a lot of time. It takes lot of time to reach up to that particular topic. So in that case, what you will do? You just go to backside of your book and search for key. What is a key? Tuple relational calculus. Suppose you found that tuple relational calculus is there in the index. In front of this there is a page number is given. For example, tuple relational calculus is a topic which is present on the page number 250. So directly from index you come to know that tuple relational calculus is a topic which is present on the page number 250. So directly you jump to page number 250. So what it will do in our approach one, where index is not there and you are searching the particular topic in the book sequentially, so in that case lot of time is there. But in this approach, whenever you are using index, your time is saved and directly you can able to jump on that particular topic. That means in case of a book, index is used to save a time. Index is used to save our retrieval time or access time of particular topic. In the same way, indexing concept can be used in the database. Just imagine that maybe the case that you you have created a database in which you have just inserted 50 rows, 60 rows, 70 rows, or up to 100 rows. Okay, so searching a data in a table which is having only 100 row is not that much difficult. It's a very simple task. You can easily find the you can easily find any kind of row from that particular table which is having only 100 records. But can you imagine, suppose in your table 1 lakh rows are there and then you need to search for a particular record. So you are searching it manually, so in that case it requires more amount of time. But instead of this, suppose you use the concept of indexing, your time is going to save. So what is the main idea behind using the concept of indexing in the database? To save access time. Okay, in order to save access time in case of a database, we are going to make use of a concept of indexing. So I hope you understand. So let's discuss in detail what is indexing. So indexing is a technique. Indexing is one of the technique of efficiently retrieving the records from a table based on some attribute on which you have created a index. Again I am explaining what is indexing. Indexing is one of the type of technique. It is a type of technique which can be used for faster retrieval of record based on an attribute on which you have created a index. So this is what a simple concept of indexing. Indexing is a technique of faster retrieval of a data from the table. So what is an index? So index is a data structure. Index is a data structure, and what it store? Index always store two things. one is a search key and second one is a pointer. If you compare this concept of index with the index of book, you already know that in case of a book index, what you find two things. One is a topic name and second one is a page number. So in this case, topic name is nothing but a search key and pointer is nothing but a page number on which that particular topic is present. So what is index? Index is a data structure. We store the value for specific column of a table. For example, I have created a table student. So in that case, I can store roll number. So roll number acts as a search key. And pointer is what? Pointer is nothing but the address where that particular record is exactly present. So index is a data structure, and indexing is a technique. Indexing is a technique of finding the data from the table in the efficient way. Okay, so this indexing concept is same as that of concept of index in a book, and most commonly we are using B+tree indexing. Okay, most commonly we are using B+tree indexing in most of the database. If you consider the Oracle database or MySQL, you can say that most commonly B+tree indexing is used in case of a database. Okay, so index consists of two things. One is a search key and second one is a pointer. Now let's try to understand how indexing work and how indexing can be helpful to us. Now just imagine that this is an employee table, and this employee table consists of 10,000 records. Okay, or you can say in this 10 lakh records are there. Okay, in this particular table I am going to store 10 lakh records. So you know that in case of database, your database going to store a record in terms of a block. That means there can be a block. There may be the case that in one block 10 rows are there, 20 rows are there, 50 rows are there. So based on the architecture of your system, that capacity of block is going to change, but your data is stored in the database, or database is stored in the hard disk in the form of block. So whenever we need to search for a particular record, we need to search for a particular block. For example, here 10 lakh records are there in my particular table, so I can say my block size is of 10,000. In every block I am going to store 10,000 block or 1,000 blocks. So similarly, just consider example that 10 lakh records are there in my table, and in that case how many blocks are there? 10,000 blocks are there. Okay, so what is a block? Block is nothing but a group of records. In single block we are going to store, for example, 1,000 records are there. 1,000 records are stored in a particular block. So in order to search a particular row, what you need to search? You need to search for a block. Once you get the block address, then you can very easily find out that particular row. Okay, you can find the location where that particular row is going to resides. Okay, so in this case, this is what my employee table, in which 10 lakh records are there. Okay, so maybe the case that in the table data is stored in a order format in a particular sequence, or it is randomly stored. Okay, so you should be ready for both the thing. Either it is stored in a specific order or it is not stored in a specific order. So here I am telling you how indexing will work. Suppose for this particular table you have created this index, just similar to your book. For example, consider example of your book of a database management system by Sudarshan Kaur. It consists of I think 1500 pages. So this is what book and this is what a index. So what that index consists of? Index consists of search key and pointer. So in case of a book example, topic name is there and page number is there. But in case of a database, in index what we are storing? We are storing the employee ID and their address where that particular employee ID resides. So this file, index file, is obviously smaller as compared to this original table. Okay, suppose size of your index is same as that of your table size, then it is of no use. Okay, so always you need to consider that the size of your index should be less than the size of your table, then and then indexing is useful. So here I am telling you how indexing will work. Suppose for this table I have created an index. So in that case what you will do, suppose I fire this query, select cname comma suppose I fire this query, select ename comma eid from employee, salary, yeah, select employee name comma salary from employee, where employee id is 501. That means I want to know what is the name of that employee and salary whose employee id is 501. So in that case, suppose I am using the concept of indexing, what it will do, it will not search in this particular table for this employee id 501, but directly what it will do, that it will transfer this particular query onto this particular indexing table. This is what your index table, index table always consists of these two things. One is a search key and second one is a pointer. So that query is fired on this particular table, so this table will transfer this query to this index. Then in this case of index, we will find this employee id, because this index is created based on the employee id. Similarly, in case of a book, index is created based on the topic, but in this example we have created an index based on the employee id. So here what I will do, I will search for employee id 501. Once I got employee id 501, then this 5000 is a address where that 501 employee id is present. So I got the address. So from here I directly jump to this particular record. I will fetch the salary, I will fetch the name and give it to the user. So in this way ultimately it helped me to save my time, because suppose indexing is not there and this data is present in the sequential order. So in that case what I need to do, I need to perform sequential search. So 1 2 3 4 up to 500 I need to search each and every record, so that I will reach up to 501. So it takes a lot of time. Instead of this, I am using the concept of indexing. I directly go to that particular search key, I will find the address, I directly jumped it. So from there I will get the location of that particular row, and then from where I just fetch the data and provide it to the user. So in this way indexing work in case of a database. So the concept of indexing is exactly same as that of indexing concept used in case of a book. So this is how indexing will work. Now next we try to understand how to create an index. How to create an index in your database. What syntax you need to follow. So this is a syntax to create an index with single column. Okay. See, index can be created with one column or more than one column also. In this case, in this particular example, we have created an index with only single column, but you can also create an index with more than one column. So what syntax you need to follow? Create index, index name on table name, and in bracket you need to provide a column name on which you are going to create an index. For example, this employee index is a single index. How can we create index employee index on what is the name of table? Employee. What is the column name? Column name is eid. So in this way, by using this syntax, you can create a index with a single column. Now you can also create a syntax, you can also create an index with multiple column also. So how to create this? Create index, index name on table name. Now in this particular bracket you need to provide more than one column. Okay, so you can create an index with more than one column also. So this is what a syntax for creating index in a database. Now the next is, what are the different benefits and drawbacks of indexing. Okay, so first of all we just discuss what are the benefits of creating an index, whether indexing is useful or not. We have just seen, I have just given the example of a book, textbook or reference book. Suppose I need to find a topic, suppose I am using indexing, then my time will be saved. Suppose I am not going to use an index, then it required a lot of time to search a particular topic. In the exactly same way, in case of a database, suppose huge amount of data is present in your table, in that case you need to make use of concept of indexing. It helps us to save your time. But suppose in your table only few rows are there. Just imagine a situation, only 50 rows are present in your table and you are creating index. Whether in that case indexing is useful? No, in that case indexing is not useful. So it is advisable to use a concept of indexing in a database when you are storing huge amount of data into your table. Then and then indexing can be useful. Now let's try to understand what are the benefits of creating index on the table. First is it will reduce the time required to fetch the data. Just we have seen how it helps us to save a time of retrieving the or accessing a particular data. Then it is used to quickly locate the data. Yes, very quickly you can locate the data as compared to this, because in this case now one question may arises in your mind that in case of this original table we are searching, and in case of index also we are searching, then how our time is saved? Because index is having small size, as compared to original table. So searching a small table will take less amount of time as compared to this. See, I will give a simple example. Suppose I lost my pen. Okay, I lost my pen and I told you to search in a particular room. Okay, so you can easily search it. But suppose I told you I lost my pen in my college, so it will take lot of time to search that particular pen. And again, suppose I say I lost my pen in Nagpur city, so whether it is feasible for you, or whether it means easily you can find that particular pen, is it the case? No. So that thing is there. So suppose you are searching in a small file, then it takes small amount of time. But suppose you are searching in a large file, it takes lot of time. And and the main concept of indexing is what? We want to reduce the retrieval time, or we want to reduce the access time. So this is what the benefits. It also helps to improve the performance of query. Yes, of course. Suppose we want to reduce the query execution time or query retrieval time, so we need to use the concept of indexing, because it helps us to quickly locate the particular record in the table. Now next is, what are the drawbacks of indexing? We just discussed what are the benefits. At the same time, few drawbacks are also there. What is first? It is beneficial only when size of table is large. Yes, it is only beneficial when huge amount of data is present in your table. Suppose only small table is there which consists of only 100 rows, and you are creating an index, then it is of no use, because ultimately creating an index also occupies some space. Okay, it decreases the performance of for frequent insertion, deletion and updation. This is the another scenario. If you are performing too much insertion, updation and deletion in case of index, so it is a time consuming thing, because index is generally arranged in a specific order. Okay, so generally it is arranged in a ascending order. So in that case, suppose you need to add a new key, it takes time. Suppose you want to delete a key, you need to rearrange this thing. Okay, you need to make some kind of modification, so it requires a time. Okay, then it requires additional space. This is the case. It is not a case that index does not require any space. Yes, index requires some amount of space. In case of a book, you require some extra pages to create an index of a book, and it increase the maintenance requirement of database. Why? Because it maintains the pointer, and you know that maintaining a pointer is somehow difficult. It is a maintenance is more. Suppose you are dealing with the concept of pointer, obviously its maintenance is more. So these are the few drawbacks of indexing, but still we can say that indexing is useful only when huge amount of data is present in your table. So these are the various benefits and drawbacks of indexing. Now next we discuss about what are the index evaluation metrics. What are the different metrics that you can use in order to evaluate the performance of indexing? So very first metrics is access type. So what is that access type? Access type represent what kind of access you are using, whether sequential access, direct access, what type of access. Again, you can say what type of data you are accessing, whether you are accessing a data which is present at the beginning of the table, at the middle of the table, at the lower side of the table. So it depends on this, what type of access you are using, access type. Then access time is there. Again, how much time is required. Suppose you need to evaluate the performance of indexing, access time you just calculate. Suppose I am using XYZ technique, then I require 5 seconds, and I am using ABC technique, I require 2 seconds. So obviously the ABC technique is better because it required only 2 seconds. Similarly, insertion time is also the matrix. Insertion time is what? Suppose you need to add a new index. Suppose you need to add a new search key into that particular index. Just take an example of book. you have just created an index and just you come to know that you need to add a new topic into that index. So there is a insertion time, because you need to embed that particular search key at a proper location, because generally index are sorted in ascending order, so randomly you cannot place the search key in any place. So it requires some time, so it requires a insertion time. Similarly, deletion time is there. Suppose you want to delete a particular record. Okay, suppose you want to delete the entry for particular indexing, so also it requires some amount of time. You need to locate this particular search key in the index, and then you need to delete this from that particular index file. So this is another metrics that you can use to evaluate the performance of indexing. And last one is space overhead, how much amount of space required to store the particular indexing. Okay, in future we are going to discuss about dense index and sparse index. So dense index will maintain the pointer for each and every record, so obviously it takes more space. And sparse index will maintain the record for only it maintains the record for only few rows of the table, so obviously its size is less. So space overhead is again another matrix. Some indexing technique will require more space, some indexing technique require less space. Just I told you, dense index will require more space and sparse index will require less space. So by using this parameter, by using this matrix, you can evaluate the performance of various indexing technique that we are going to discuss in next lecture. Our next lecture is based on types of indexing in the database. So I hope you understand the concept of indexing. Okay, so here we understand what is indexing, what is the syntax for indexing, what are the benefits and drawbacks of indexing, how indexing works in the database, when you should go for indexing, when you should not go for indexing, then what are the different metrics that you can use to evaluate the performance of indexing. So finally I can say, if you have huge amount of data in your database, then you should go for indexing, and if you have only small amount of data, then you should not go for indexing. So this is what a thing. Okay, thank you.